Sheena quick. Bring her in the show.
Y'all are funny. Y'all are funny. Oh, God, I'm so close.
It's all good. How you doing?
What do you think about this? What do you think about this kid right here who just entered the portal? Smitty turned 31 Sunday, Sheena. This dude right here is 32. And he's about to be
I thought it was a joke. Like, so he's legit 32 years old.
Oh, yeah, he's about to be the kicker for the Carolina Panthers next year.
First of all, don't do us. Not us. Don't do the Panthers. Don't you do that, okay? First of all,
he's going from East Carolina to the Carolina Panthers immediately.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. How did this happen? How was he allowed to do this?
So here's the context. So he's originally from Australia and didn't start playing American football until he was 28 years old. So that's kind of, I guess it's some loophole right there. So he didn't start his clock until he was 28.
And?
I don't know.
That's a you problem, homie. That's not the problem of my 21-year-old kid that's been in high school getting a lack of getting recruited now. Like, this is crazy.
But
let's be real.
That's insane, actually. You remember back when Chris Wanke was like the old head and we were like, oh my God, he's 1,000,000 years old. He's geriatric. And here comes this guy whose AARP card should be in the mail next week. And he's still kicking. That's crazy.
And apparently he's pretty good too.
I mean, he better be 32. He better be. I swear I thought that was a joke. I was like, nah, that's, this one of those, it was a tweet. And I was like, maybe it's one of those satire pages. I didn't think in 1,000,000 years that was like accurate.
This is getting ridiculous.
The portal, sir, you should be entering into somebody's job force.
Yeah.
He got kids. He got, insurance claims. He took a second out on a HELOC on his third house. Like,
he definitely got a mortgage and a vacation property at this
401k. He got everything. You got to think, I ain't played football in 10 years, and he's older than me.
Yeah. And he's taking away jobs. He's taking away scholarships, Smitty, from these young babies.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Sheena, I gotta ask you straight up: is our country bunking? Because I recruit South Carolina, and I love the kids. I think it's the most talented per capita state in the union. That's what I used to say to everybody when I recruited South Carolina. Our man Xavier, is he just really that country?
I think he is. Yeah, he's in the trenches. You didn't see him skin that squirrel?
Yeah, I saw this. This is crazy.
In the trenches. I feel like if anybody had any doubt and they thought that the accent was fake or they thought that he was just like putting on a persona, no, I think he lives this. Like he is.
Oh, he definitely does.
He's in the trenches. Like he's at rodeos. He's hunting. He's riding horses. Everybody else is on the Xbox or the PlayStation. He's out skinning squirrels. I mean, he lives this. This is his life. I mean, it's kind of fascinating though because it's just so genuine, and it'll be interesting to kind of see as he acclimates throughout the league how much of that he's able to retain.
Yeah,
no doubt.
I love it because it's so different than anybody else.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And often you're the one who, like, for whatever reason, you're able to bring out like those best stories. And I think I even saw you, if I'm not mistaken, you tried a little bit of that. Was it some raccoon you ate?
It happened so fast. It happened so fast, and I'm no punk, so I couldn't just be like, nah, I don't want it. Like once he offered, I was like, dang, I got to see it through. Like there's cameras rolling, I got to see it through. But it wasn't bad. It wasn't what I thought. It was not bad, y'all.
So like, okay, so I need to know.
JB's like, nah.
we get to the table, right? And we get to the dinner table. What is Sheena putting with it?
Okay, here we go.
Well, it ain't making it to my dinner table. I just tried it.
You gotta have something with it. In case it's nasty, you gotta have something. Is it mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes? Yeah.
I don't feel like mashed potatoes should be used to cleanse the palate ever because it just doesn't have enough flavor. You got to get something. Maybe sweet potatoes. Sweet
potatoes probably do it.
Potatoes. Yeah, potatoes and coons.
That sounds crazy. Yeah.
Hey, Sheena, I got to ask you something real quick because we got a rookie in the NFC playoffs and about to be possibly in a Super Bowl. A kid from my neck of the woods. I've been around him since he was a little kid. Jaden Daniels, who's out there playing like he's in a turkey bowl in the hood, in the street. Don't have a worry in his life. He don't care. He out here slinging it, running around, having fun. Looks like a kid that we grew up playing football. That's how you're supposed to play. Fun, relaxed, no stress. Jared Goff looked like he was tight as man. He was like, holy shit, where are you at with him versus Bryce Young, who's another kid I grew up watching out here in California, who struggled. Everybody wanted him out, blah, blah, blah. I thought he had one of the better years last year when I told Smitty, I said, last 5 games last year was unbelievable. Then this year, gets job snatched, comes back. Love to see it. And I love the kid, and I've known his dad and everybody forever. Where are you at with that? And that is football in good hands with the young QBs?
I think it is, but I think that everyone isn't going to have a Jaden Daniels situation, as you're kind of seeing with C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud was lighting it up last year, and then the inefficiencies across that offensive line kind of, put him in a situation similar to what Bryce Young was in last year. Better situation, but kind of similar. I think that the league is definitely in good hands, but the league has to be patient. Like when you have these quarterbacks going 1 and 2, these teams are drafted that high for a reason. It's because they sucked the year before. And it's usually not, they're usually not a quarterback away. Washington is a different type of situation. Dan Quinn has experience on the defensive side of the ball. Then you have Cliff Kingsbury.
Bobby Wagner came in as a leader.
And then the Commanders got a couple of players from the Panthers that, were kind of unhappy with the situation here last year, and Jeremy Chin and Frankie Louisville was a dog. So I think it's hard to kind of compare the two of those because they're two drastically different situations. But Jaden Daniels, to me, was always the better quarterback in this draft. People got zoned in on Caleb Williams. Everybody zones in on this consensus #1 pick, and they just stay there. So the Bears and Caleb Williams, I feel like he's given a lot more grace than Bryce Young was given last year because he isn't 5'10". But that's a whole other conversation. But I think that, you're seeing the pieces put around Bryce, and Bryce is playing like Jaden Daniels. He's having more fun. These guys aren't giving a damn about blitzing defenses.
Very similar situations, though, right? Yeah, very similar, though. First-year head coach, OC. You get here with Jaden, you get a first-year head coach, first-year OC. It starts with Jaden, I mean. And you get Quinn, who's been there, done that, taking the Falcons to a Super Bowl. You get Kingsbury, who's been a head coach, who's had a similar athletic guy in Kyler Murray. Yeah. And now you blend that together with a rookie, Jaden Daniels, who don't care about anything with in my opinion, top 5 receiver in football. Yeah, not caring. I think McLaurin's the top 5 wideout in football. I think he's underrated as hell in McLaurin. But yeah, so I just think it's crazy. I think it's very similar. Are the Panthers ready to take the next step as far as that goes? Because I know Smitty has a question for you from our doctor, Jesse Morse, who covers all of NFL injuries. He used to work for the Patriots, and now he's in Miami and does a lot of NFL injury stuff. He comes on our show twice a week. He had a question for you, but I'll let Smitty ask that. But are you guys close, you think, on turning the tide or the table?
I think so, for sure. And I think that David Tepper's definitely taken a huge step back. You can see that in the football decisions that this team is making. And I think that was a big part of Dan Morgan coming on as GM. You're not going to push Dan Morgan around. Dan Morgan's not going to just tell you what you want to hear. And so I think that we saw that. I think the biggest indicator of that is the fact that Ejiro Evero still has a job after his defense gave up the most points in NFL history. If it were up to David Tepper, he'd be like, out of there. But Dan Morgan's a football guy. He's like, look, there were some injuries on that side of the ball. We focused on offense last offseason. Let's focus on defense this offseason and then kind of circle the wagons and see where we are. But if it were David Tepper, if David Tepper still had his hands in it, Evero would have been gone. Evero probably would have been gone during the season because he doesn't play that. So I think that that's a huge, huge step in the right direction. And I do think that once they get that defensive side of the ball set a little bit more, I think that the Panthers are really going to cook.
Got you. That'd be interesting. I feel the same way just watching from afar. But to JB's point, so we had our doctor on earlier, Dr. Jesse Morris, and he had a question about Jonathan Brooks, who I know had his second ACL surgery. Yeah. Heard it went successful, but the question he had was, so apparently initially he was supposed to come back, I guess, within 4 to 6 weeks. He didn't. He ended up not playing, I think, until week 10. So the question was there any insight, behind the scenes as far as was there any minor tears? Were there any setbacks? Why did it go from 4 to 6 playing in week 4 to 6 to not playing till week 10?
I don't think he was ready in week 10. I don't think he was ready in week 10. And we do have, you can tell those guys that are just itching to get back on the field. Like, I can't wait to get on the field. I think he was excited about it, but I didn't get that, oh my God, I got to get on the field vibe from him. And so to me, I'm like, why did you bring him back? I mean, hindsight is 2020. I felt like they did not need him. I felt like, Chuba was handling the load, and I don't know if Miles Sanders going out kind of quickened up that timeline for him.
Added pressure on him, right?
Right, and then you go out and you tear the same ACL, so now you're out for a whole other season, and possibly like that could have a major impact on if he even has a career in the NFL. Right. Everybody hopes he shakes back. You obviously hate to see players go down like that, but I never got the sense that Jonathan Brooks was, banging the table to get on the field. That's just me. Yeah, that's just my opinion. And he very well could have been communicating this to the coaches, the trainers, the other players. I think that everybody wants to get on the field. Every athlete wants to play. No athlete wants to be on the side. And your comments just said Joy Taylor 2.0. No, baby. Not over here.
Not at all.
Not over here. Not happening, Captain. I don't care what's going on over there.
Sheena. I'm at Fox, so we gonna keep that. We good. We chilling.
Nothing's happening.
We chilling.
We're not even going there.
We're not going there.
We're not going there.
Ignore the comments. We got people here who are crazy. They get on me every day. Ignore the comments.
I know. I just want them to know I'm not the bigger person. Like you go low, I go lower.
I know. Sheena will go there. Sheena don't play around now.
Love it. You gotta be our female insider every week. We gotta have you over everyone else, meaning all them. So anyway, let me ask you. If you would have had Brooks and Hubbard, is that like your Gibbs Montgomery combination in Detroit? Like I thought it was. I thought it was very comparable. I thought that would have helped Bryce tremendously. And Miles Sanders going out, like you said, there was like you were now reaching for another back, right, to spell Hubbard. Like, is that something?
A good fire and ice combo, and I get it. I get the enthusiasm. The Panthers' offense was looking up, and so I get them wanting to get him on the field. It's like having a Ferrari park that you're looking at, and it's like it might need a little tune-up, but I think it might be ready. I think it might be ready. Right. And you're kind of itching to get it out. That's what I think that situation was. Everybody was so ready to see that tandem, and now we might have to wait a whole other. Well, we'll definitely have to wait a whole other season.
I'm not familiar. What's your draft style? What's your draft? Where you picking?
They're picking at 8 again.
So, is there any possibility that Ashton Genty would be on the board? Too early.
It's a good question, but I feel like they gotta go defense. Like just looking at that. I mean, they had to win shootouts. Like I don't see how you draft anything other than defense with your first pick. Like it was a glaring issue, and it'll be the only thing that interests me as far as how they're going to draft defense, but the approach they take, because I actually hate the 3-4. I don't feel like it's successful. They don't have the players for it, and I feel like last year and a little bit of the season before is the result of seeing them try to force a square into a round hole. Like they were trying to force it, and you can't run that if you don't have the personnel for that, or you get what you got. You know what I'm saying? You get teams just playing Madden on you. Like they were doing trick plays and everything. Like you get teams disrespecting your defense, and you get, so many games were lost on the defensive side of the ball. So I think that their future with Evero and how far they see that future going is going to determine how they draft. Are they drafting for a 3-4 and Evero might be gone? Or are they drafting for a guy that can play in the 3-4-4-3? That's going to be interesting, but they definitely need edge help. They need help in that secondary, and they definitely need linebacker depth. So,
and I agree with you. 3-4, the 50 defense, as we call it, the 3-4. To me, you have to have a 2-gap nose guard that's
350.
They're undersized. They just don't have the personnel for that.
You got to have a double 2-gapper, man. He's got to control that whole thing. He makes the 3-4 go. If without a true nose,
Will Fork type. You know what I mean? Like,
and the nose that they had on the team last year with Frank Reich, they cut him before the season started and never replaced him. And I just didn't understand that.
Who was that?
It was like my 8-year-old was playing Madden.
Was that Luvo, the Oso?
No, Luvo was he was a linebacker, and he actually was offered more. Dan Morgan and them tried to keep him in Carolina. He was offered more, but he didn't want to play in Evero's system. He wanted to go play with
is on the Commanders, right? Yeah, Luvu's on the Commanders.
He's an all-pro. He's an all-pro.
Yeah, he's
balling. Now and then you have to have players that believe in your system. You know, a lot of people felt like Brian Burns wasn't going to, losing Brian Burns wasn't going to be a big deal. He didn't have the sack numbers. Now he's back to being, in the upper tier of edges. But a lot of people are looking at this sack number. And if you're just looking at stats, you're not noticing that Brian Burns was dropping back into coverage in Evero's scheme. Why is he dropping back into coverage? Sorry, y'all. I got emotional. I'm a defensive. It was pissing me off.
I got a question for you. It's a little off the cuff here, but I know you've been, following the team for a while now. Sam Darnold, a guy who spent just a hot second, with the Panthers. Obviously, it didn't go, to his liking there. I think Baker actually started in front of him, even while he was there. But you look at his season and how it went. Obviously, it didn't end the right way, but he went 14 games with the Vikings. I guess my question is for you is it something within like the organization in Carolina? Like, what's the issue? Because how can a guy go win 14 games and look like that in Minnesota? But a couple years ago, he's seeing ghosts in Carolina or the Jets.
Well, he saw them ghosts in New York now. You ain't gonna put that on Carolina. He saw them ghosts when he came down Carolina.
Everywhere he was at,
yeah, he saw those ghosts up north. But to your point, like there wasn't any alignment. And for the first time this past offseason, we saw the Panthers hire their GM and their head coach in the same hiring cycle. I think before, you have this one coach that's like, we're going to play smash mouth football. You have this GM in here that's like, no, we're not. So then you fire that GM, and then you hire another GM, and this GM might be like, okay, we're going to do smash mouth, but you fire that head coach. Now this next head coach wants to run, a Cali style offense. And so there just wasn't much alignment there. And now you're seeing alignment. You're seeing a clear-cut plan for this team, and they're making sure that they're making the moves to reach these certain goals. The biggest indicator was Frank Reich coming in after Steve Wilkes did such a good job on the back end of that 2022 season. They were a running team. They were running the ball down teams' throats. Yeah. And Frank Reich comes in and was like, oh, yeah, we're not going to do that. We're not smash mouth. I don't know what our identity is, but it's not that. Well, you had an offensive line that was geared to smash mouth football. And that's why Bryce Young was on his butt 62 times. Because they weren't pass protectors, but you were trying to run a different system and a different offense that wasn't, again, your personnel was not ideal for that. So that's what happens. You get some of those players that fall through the cracks. You get the Sam Darnolds, the Baker Mayfields, the Frankie Louvu's, the Jeremy Chins. You get these players that are like collateral damage due to the instability up top and not having 4 or 5 different play callers and, having 2 to 3 different DCs, 2 different head coaches, then the special teams coaches at interim. Like, so you get those guys that kind of fall through the cracks and they go somewhere that's more established and you see them have success.
I agree. The crazy part is, like, we're talking about this. I'm looking at this like, all right, Steve Wilkes got a short end of the stick in this whole coaching. Yeah. I'm just saying, in professional opinion, he took that team that wanted to run through a wall for him at the end of 22. He goes to Frisco and has the number 1 defense basically in football and gets fired and replaced. And now the Niners look like they do on defense. It's crazy. And we don't want to talk about it, though. And now this guy's sitting out here, like, as an analyst somewhere, like, wait up, man. Like, that was the first thing.
He interviewed for the Falcons DC job, though.
Yeah,
that's weird. That's a good point, JB. I didn't even think about that. I didn't think about that.
Carolina could possibly have to see him twice a season.
That would be something, wouldn't it? The irony. I'm sure he'll be motivated those weeks.
They hired the interim Ulbrich from the Jets, which is interesting. But they have I know that Ulbrich and my boy in Atlanta.
The Falcons already made a DC hire? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
They hired Ulbrich. They hired Ulbrich what day? Was it, Bailey? I think last Friday or something.
Had to look at that. Let me ask you this before you go, Sheena. Like, what's the vibe in the locker room with Canales there, as the leader, as the head coach? Like, is the overall vibe like the team seems to like rally around him? Is it just, oh, for sure? Okay.
They love playing for him because as positive, huh?
He's a Cali JUCO guy. I've known him forever. He's right here, El Camino JUCO. Yeah.
They really do rally around him. I think that he's very relatable, and I think that he more so than the used car salesman vibe that Matt Rule had, and kind of the gospel youth minister vibe that Frank Reich had. Yeah. He's like, look, I'm gonna be positive, but we got some work to do. Yeah. And I think that a lot of the players respected that from him. That he's very realistic. He has his expectations, but he is rooted in realism. I think that when he came in, when we talked to him at the combine, he said, I don't have an emotional attachment to anybody on this team. And right now, that's a benefit to me because I'm going to do what's best for the team. I'm going to make ball decisions, not emotional decisions. And we're going to continue to see him doing that. The biggest indicator of that was benching your number 1 draft pick 2 games into the season.
Right.
That took some. I don't know if we can say that on there, but it took some gall.
You said whatever on this show.
It took some gumption. It took some
no. It took some balls to do that.
It did. It took some balls, and he stuck with it. Even with Andy Dalton went out there, won a game, and he didn't look good after that. I'm sorry. I love Andy to death. And he didn't look good after week 3. And my son told me, he said, Dalton's going to give y'all 3 weeks.
And your son was right.
I walked into this house after the Chicago game, and he was like, told you, and kept watching TV. And I was like, yeah, you know what? But it took balls to do that. And I think that a guy that's willing to trade Deontay Johnson, he was your one. So it takes balls to do what's best for the team, regardless of how it might make someone feel. And I think that gets you the respect in the locker room. I knew at some point we were always going to see Bryce Young again, as we should have. But that factory reset that he gave him showed confidence in Bryce, and it showed confidence in himself, and it showed that Tepper is letting his guys do what they need to do. He's letting Dan Morgan and he's letting Dave Canales make the decisions that they feel are best for this football team. But that took guts. There's some veteran coaches that wouldn't have had the guts to do that. But he had a plan.
Maybe Tepper's learning. Maybe Tepper's learning. And listen, Canales coming up from the Pete Carroll tree. Pete hired him as a young, right out of JUCO, brings him on as a GA, worked with Sark at SC and a lot of other guys. And so he's been around the block. He's been around a great mentor. Let me ask you something about Caleb Williams. In Chicago, they hired Ben Johnson during this, the Lions' short run as the 1 seed. They get put out by Jaden Daniels and the Washington team. I want to ask you 2 questions. Can he save Caleb Williams after 1 year of obviously looking at him and the struggles after Justin Fields left, and they got better? They got better at every spot on the football field, in my opinion, after losing Justin Fields, where I was like, keep Justin, draft Joe Alt, get better up front. Still get Udunzi or any other receiver. Brian Thomas possibly could have got him, to Sean King's point on our show. Can he save Caleb Williams? Question 1. Question 2, where are you at with the poaching and the time frame in hiring? Because you went through this hiring process in Carolina. I think it's ridiculous. I think that I would be pissed if I'm MCDC or any other head coach and you're poaching my coordinators during a playoff run.
When I want my active in the playoffs. Yeah.
I want my guys both feet in, Sheena. Now I'm questioning. Hey, Ben, you got hired yesterday in Chicago and already have a staff damn near in place.
Yeah.
You've been working on 2 things.
And you need to be focused on this game.
Like, where you at with Goodell? With Goodell's the policy of open? Like, I would love to be open, just open it for everybody after the Super Bowl ends on February 10th. To me, it seems fair because you just can't do it. It's impossible. Even if you had a bye week, you can't do it. You lost your bye week as a former coach, and I'm looking at it like we lost our bye week because we lost our first game in the playoffs. And I got to question, not scoring enough points and golf throwing a couple picks, and we're doing some trick shit down in the red zone, and it's like, what are we doing? We're just throwing shit at the wall.
What was that Jamison Williams throw? What was that?
Right.
I don't know. So can Ben Johnson save Caleb, in your opinion? And what do you think about the hiring time windows and time frame?
I think that when it comes to that, like you said, it should definitely be after the Super Bowl, because how can you do virtual interviews when you're supposed to be game planning? Like this is what you're doing right here, right now. And I don't think that you lose too much by waiting 2 to 3 more weeks. I don't.
It's not college, right? You're not recruiting. It's not college.
You're not going to lose. Yeah, exactly. You're not going to lose that. The prospects that you could possibly be looking for, you were looking at them all season. You're looking at them all season. You're going to still have, the
March and April is what? The Indianapolis is the combine. That's what, April or no, March?
Like last February, first week of March.
Yeah. All right. So you can still be hired by then. You got GMs, you got scouting departments. They haven't gone anywhere. Right. Exactly.
So I do think that they could definitely benefit from holding off, because it's hard, and not just his offensive coordinator, but his defensive coordinator. He's going to lose Aaron Glenn.
Yeah.
So it's like,
that's my
how locked in could you be? You know what I mean? How locked in could you be before? I mean, if you're already entertaining and trying to interview for these jobs. I mean, even I keep going back to, the Steve Wilkes thing. Steve Wilkes had to interview a couple days after their season ended. Frank Reich had gotten fired months earlier. So he had time to, of course, he's going to be more, he's going to have a staff together because he's been at home. So I do think that those factors definitely need to be reconsidered going forward, because you can't be all in and be present for your team if you're taking all of these interviews. And the other question was if Ben Johnson could fix Caleb. I don't know what Chicago's cap looks like. I don't know what the contracts look like of their offensive line, but the games that I did see, Caleb was under duress like a lot. So that's one of the things that was really paramount in Bryce's improvement, is getting him some protection that he trusted. Because when you don't trust your protection, everything else goes to shit. Goes to hell. Like Bryce was.
Say fuck, shit, any balls, whatever you want to say, you can say on here. We're the realest show. We're the realest show. So
because you saw Bryce's thing. He was undersized, as everyone says, but Bryce had fundamentals. His game, his processing of the game were his strengths. But
accurate.
After he was getting knocked around, he started anticipating the hits and started getting happy feet in the pocket. So those are the things that started to break down, and that's the Bryce Young we saw those first 2 weeks. So,
but that's your point. Isn't that your point on rushing the rookies on a bad franchise? Isn't that your point of rushing quarterbacks when we can see the Mahomes of the world sit and the Aaron Rodgers sit and Brett Favre even sit and Tom Brady
sat.
Yeah.
Tom Brady sat. And so luckily these rookies that were playing behind these bad offensive lines, luckily they didn't get hurt. That's the other thing. Luckily they came away injury free. But if they can get him some solid protection, I think that the other weapons that they've given him in Chicago, you could see a Bryce Young type turnaround from Caleb Williams in year 2.
No doubt. Your head coach's former team, the Tampa Bay Bucks, are in the play. They went to the playoffs, and Baker, another former quarterback, and then another quarterback left and took the Vikings to the playoffs. Both first round exits. The division in totality. You got Atlanta, obviously. You guys are trying to get better, and it looks like a lot. I've heard from inside guys that I got buddies of mine coaching in the NFL. They're like, man, the Carolina Panthers really, if you look at it, aren't far away from being the new Detroit Lion. The bad team that was at the bottom, young, upcoming. They got a QB that maybe they can live with. They have a couple pieces on offense. And if you get another back to go with Hubbard, whether that be Brooks or whoever coming off injury, or you draft or trade, whatever, or free agent, they're not too far. All you O-line away. Every team in the NFL is an O-line away, contrary to belief, because every other skill guy is getting paid the same. To be honest, I'm just being honest. Right. That's the NFL, a dime a dozen. Wideouts are a dime a dozen. Running backs are a dime a dozen. O-line, D-line is where you win in the NFL, just like it is anywhere else. How far are you guys away from, let's say, in the next Detroit Lion or young and upcoming team that's going to be successful in that division in the South, which I think is attainable and you can win. You can win that division.
The Bucks won the division at 10-7, so it's not like
and the Bucks also, if you look at some of the Panthers have to learn how to win. Learn how to close these games out and win. Because think about the fact that they were a fingertip away from beating the Philadelphia Eagles. No one gave them a chance.
Yeah.
They were
at the end of the season. They were playing top 10 football.
And then they were, it took the Kansas City Chiefs a walk-off field goal, which there were some calls in there that was a little suspect. But it's the Chiefs.
The Chiefs don't cheat, Sheena.
They've earned those calls.
Yeah.
You win, you get those calls. They've earned those calls. You think about that game that they took them to the wire in. You think about the game when they went to overtime with the Bucks, and they were in field goal range. They could have just kicked that field goal, but they wanted to get a little bit closer, and Chuba Hubbard fumbles. That game was won. So if you look at those, that's just 3 more games that, would have given them 8 wins on the season. And that's a stark contrast to winning just 2 games the year before. So if you get the defensive side of the ball just a little bit better, they're in that discussion.
Sheena, before you leave, Final Four is this weekend in the NFL, AFC, NFC title game Sunday. If we don't maybe we'll get you on before the Super Bowl, but who you got winning this Sunday, and who do you expect what do you expect the Super Bowl to be like this year?
The Commanders are playing excellent football right now.
They're
playing really good football right now. And when you add to that, Jalen Hurts, it depends on how that knee feels. That knee immobilized him a lot in the second half of the game.
Head, finger, knee. He's got a lot going on.
He's got a lot going on. So it heavily relies on his health. If he is less than 100%, the Commanders could be in New Orleans in a couple of weeks.
With the rookie.
I don't think that is a hot take. They are playing some good football, and everybody is 0-0 in the playoffs. Records do not matter. They showed you that when they went to Detroit.
It's a new season. So you got the Commanders, maybe if Jalen Hurts ain't healthy, and on the AFC we got the Bills and the Chiefs. The Bills did beat the Chiefs this season, and they're only lost.
Man, the Chiefs, I'm telling you, the Chiefs, the whole team is part of the Illuminati, man. Like, I'm telling you, like, the whole team, the way that they're winning these games is like, there's no way. And it started with the toenail win over the Ravens. So, I mean, at the end of the day, man.
Is it because of the white girl?
Taylor? I just think that when you win, you get those calls, and I don't know what brujeria has been put in place for the Kansas City Chiefs, but I feel like they got some black magic going on. They have been winning in crazy ways. But Josh Allen has been balling too. So
JB, now they got two white girls. Now they got Caitlin Clark over there.
They do have Caitlin. I don't know, that might be insurmountable.
Sheena did.
And Caitlin Clark, that might be insurmountable.
You can't overcome that, I don't think, Sheena.
Sheena, did Kelsey fuck up?
Sheena, do not answer you. You do not answer
Because I seen the sister.
How I feel on this show.
What you drinking, JB?
Every single day, it's how I feel.
We all see this. Now I get it. She got the B word behind her name, billion. She got $1 billion. I get all that, but I just can't come home to that every day.
She might have an amazing personality. I like Taylor Swift's music.
She's not got a personality out there. Stop.
She might have an amazing personality.
She better have amazing gog or something. She better have amazing something because that shit ain't. I don't know.
I like Taylor's music.
She got some.
I never heard of it. I never heard it.
I guarantee you've heard her music. You didn't know it was her, but I guarantee you heard her music.
You heard her music.
You're right. You might be right.
I heard Bad Blood. If you watch wrestling, you've at least heard Bad Blood.
100%.
Yeah, I never heard it. I couldn't tell you one song. Like if you told me, hey, you heard Whoop De Whoop, I couldn't tell you one song.
JB the chat said if she get a BBL, the game will change. Well, you think it's an L? Look, I'm interviewing you. Would it be an L still if Taylor got a BBL?
No.
We don't like.
I don't do fake.
Well, we don't like BBL over here.
I don't do fake.
If you got one, do your thing. But that ain't. We prefer the natural look.
Okay.
Yeah. We do unicorn. Another show on Planet ERF, so we do real shit. I do real shit.
Y'all are unicorns.
Yeah, like milk and magnesia don't do it for me. I can't do that.
Even when me and JB go to like strip clubs, if you got too much surgery, we ain't really.
But you're white.
I get it, but milk and magnesia don't do well for me.
See, Sheena, he white, but he grew up around us his whole life, so I think his mind has shifted.
You know what? He's spicy white. We'll give him spicy white.
Spicy white. He white with a little bit of cinnamon inside of the water. He got a little bit of.
Even with $1 billion, Sheena. Even with $1 billion, I come home every day and and then I see her, and then I'm like, a couple of weeks, I'm over that.
$1 billion is a lot, though, Jason. $1 billion.
$1 billion is a lot.
I get it. But I seen the other sister that he used to mess with, and I'm like, man, he never get bored of that. But anyway, Sheena, it's been great. Love you. Appreciate you. Great insight on the Panthers and all things NFL. And so I didn't hear you say it, but you got the Chiefs, I guess, winning?
It's hard to bet against Mahomes, man. It just is. It is. I want the Bills there. I'm not even going to hold you. Like, this is going to be like my 7th Super Bowl, and Kansas City has played in like 4 of them joints. Like, I think Bills Mafia in New Orleans would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's just hard to bet against Patty Mahomes. It's just hard.
I'm going all in on Jaden Daniels.
He's Patrick Mahomes.
I'm taking Josh Allen to run all over the place, and he's going to take
this. I hope he does.
Me too.
Yeah, I hope he does. I hope it's time for a changing of the guard, man. It's like, let's take it up.
Right now for me. Anybody but the Chiefs. If the Chiefs win Super Bowl, Sheena, I'm not watching NFL next year. I got boycott.
If the Chiefs go to the Super Bowl, I'm not covering the game. Now let me stop before somebody sees that. NFL, I'm just playing. Don't take my credential. I'm joking.
Real quick, so you will be in New Orleans?
I will be in New Orleans.
Well, I'll be there too. I'm sure. Hopefully, I'll run into you. I'm sure I'll see you at some point. I ain't seen you in person.
I'll be there. I will be there. I got to.
Maybe start you at the draft.
Sheena, you come out here on that Sunday. You'll be in the Super Bowl. So, Super Bowl Sunday. I have a big party here. Comedian, bartender. We got some girls.
If the Chiefs are playing, you might see me, JB. If the Chiefs are playing,
there you go.
Oh, then let's go. February 9th, we're here. We got some, poker right here at the table, poker table. We got a bar, we got a lounge, we got everything.
Drinks.
Yeah, we got it all. Bartenders, topless poker dealers.
What did you say, JB? The last part? What was the last part you said?
Man,
Poker
Smitty
dealers.
gonna mess up, and Smitty ain't even gonna be able to go. Smitty
Right.
don't let him
You know
come,
what I
man.
mean? That's my whole flow up.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
You're supposed to text him something like that, JB.
He don't know the bro code, Shane. Like he don't, you know what I mean? Like you don't just put stuff
That's
out.
crazy, JB. Rookie mistake.
Nah, don't worry about it. We already know. Sheena, enjoy the week. Hopefully you're in some sort of good weather. I know the East Coast getting rattled by weather, snow. We're getting rattled by fires. It's crazy right now. But it is what it is. Hopefully you're safe, and hopefully we'll get you back on before the Super Bowl.
Thanks for having me, guys.
No problem. Good
Always.
seeing you. Have a good one.